Was it because of my stupid silly video, or I'm just like WD-40? Yeah.
It's a round effect. We're hearing it because you said it, and now we think about it.
That's fascinating. So your reticular activator is going off when you think about this, huh? Well, and this is what I'm doing with y'all too, because you have that squeaky little bee voice in your head, and I'm going, you know, like the video. Karen, bless your heart. I know it's been like gruesome. Doing the videos over and over and over again. Kevin too, you know what I mean? And then David too. I'm just like, cool, David, but it looks like there's a smudge. Let's do it over. Cool, Kevin, but I don't like the background. Let's do it over. Because I realized that, I heard this line in The Godfather, and I always hated it, because I thought it sounded so stupid, but boy, does it apply. It ain't personal, it's business. Does that make friends? Does that make friends? I'm in my head because I went on a listening appointment with my son this week. So, little quick mini testimony. My son bartends and waits tables at Longhorn, and he said, hey, he overheard this guy who this lady was liquidating her mom's estate, yada, 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 and that we ought to go talk to her. He's a neighbor. And I'm like, just jump in the car. We're just going to go. And he goes, well, no, we don't know anything about anything. I said, we know all we need to know. Let's just go there. We're going to just show you. You just get into action. Right? So they were having an estate sale. So I made sure that the guy that talked to my son, I got his name, and then we went to the estate sale thing, which was all outside. The house was all blocked off. And I told one of the workers at the estate sale, I said, hey, one of the neighbors told the owner that we were coming over here to talk to them about real estate. Would you let them know we're here? And that was the truth, right? And so they went in and got her, but she didn't know we were coming over like within a very short time of hearing it. So they're cleaning out the house, and it's cool because the husband is Italian, doesn't speak any English. She's white, but she's lived in Italy for 30 years, and the mom passed away in the estate, right? And so we start having a conversation, and I go hard in the paint on how we get houses sold and what we do, and she's connecting with us, right? And I know that there's a 90% chance that we're going to get this listing. And it was only because as we were pulling up, the guy that referred says, oh, I think she might have a realtor. And I was like, oh, well, we're going to go over here. Anyway, right? So we go in, we have the conversation with it, and I said several things I've never said before that were so fun. And the craziest one, did anybody watch Jerry Maguire? Was anybody a Jerry Maguire fan at all? It was like, I don't know. Believe it or not, that's Angela's favorite movie, is Jerry Maguire. Well, we were talking, and at the end she goes, okay, I'm in a real, what I feel like is a moral dilemma right now. And I said, what is that? She goes, I desperately now want you to help me, but I had another realtor in here last week that walked the house, that did everything, that shared with me, that shared what she was thinking about doing, but your way is so much better. I feel much more comfortable about everything you said, and I'm just not quite sure now what to do. And I said, did you sign anything? And she goes, no, but it's not about that. And I thought, you're either going to go to hell for this, or it's going to be amazing. And I said, well, there's this movie, it's my wife's favorite movie called Jerry Maguire, and I hate the guy that said this. He's one of the characters you hate in the movie. But he said something very, very true. And he said, it ain't show friends, it's show business. And I said, and then I did Filth Out Found, so I know exactly how you feel. I've had many clients who felt the same way because they have family members who are realtors or other relationships that are realtors. What they found was, though, that at the right time, new information entered and they had a decision to make. And that wasn't sneaky. That was what I consider divine timing. We showed up here today where it would have been a done deal. And she goes, I really think it's going to be you. And I said, well, chances are really good that the top 10% of us do 80% of business, so chances are really good. You notice that there's and she goes, but she was just really nice. I said, well, do you mind me asking who it is? And she goes, Missy Stakers. Missy's my girl. Missy, my girl. Now, I've taken listings from Missy, and she's taken listings from me. We've competed, and the beauty of this energy, it was so pure, and my son freaked out, is she goes, Missy Stagers, and I said, I adore her. I said, there's realtors I like, there's realtors I respect, but there's realtors I adore, and me and Missy got it like that. We've had it like that for almost 30 years. I just adore her. And she goes, you do? And I go, absolutely. I said, you wouldn't make a mistake with either one of us. And then I did another thing. Now, she was a sweet lady, and she was AJ was all dressed real nice, and I don't think I was super dressed nice, but I look nice, okay? But I could tell she had kind of a cute, little look in her eyes as we were talking, as her husband comes by, hey, what's the matter? And I'm like, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? It was just kind of fun, but I could tell she was an artisty type. And you got nothing to lose at these games. Okay, I'm sharing this with you to tell you how this is not scripted. And she goes, it's a lot to think about. And I said, well, may I just make a simple suggestion? Now listen, guys, God is my witness. I went just like this. I kid you not. I said, well, can I make just a simple suggestion? Just an observation. And she goes, yes. I said, well, you're going to be having conversations, intimate conversations for the next month and a half to 2 months while this takes place. Maybe more. And you can either be doing that with a blonde girl or a couple of really good-looking guys. She started laughing, and she goes, oh my God, you just put that out there, didn't you? I said, I'm just saying, and then she laughed, and she goes, you were a hoot. And I was just like, I literally go, and then she's just like, because what's going on here? There's a connection being made that comes from confidence. And here's what I told her. I said, let me just give you some peace of mind about the decision that you're going to make, okay? And here's the decision you're going to make. If you choose Missy, it's going to be wonderful. If you choose us, it's going to be wonderful. Because she has the same heart as me. If you called her, and I said, I guarantee you this, if you call her and say this, Missy, I actually met Steve Collins, and I'm going to go with him because I like his strategy. Here's what will happen. Missy will say, oh my God, I love Steve Collins. But I think you're mistaken because he's not selling real estate anymore. He's coaching. At which point you're going to say, no, he came over with his son and his children are of the age that they're wanting to learn the business. And he's going to be walking his son through the process so that they can continue building their team. And Missy's going to go, oh my God, he has so many kids. That makes sense. Like, that makes sense. Honey, you're in good hands with Steve. If I'm going to listen to anybody, it's him. Like, that's how it, and I promise you it'll be like that. She will not flip out. She'll have the same heart because she's that person. Does that make sense? All of you who know her love her. She's a wonderful person. And I said some crazy stuff, like the one listing I took from her, she goes, how did you get it? This woman looks like me, acts like me, with the same personality, and you're so different. And I said, will you still love me if I tell you? And she goes, yes. I said, look, Missy Stagers has 2 poodles. She can sell your house. I have 7 children. I will sell your house. And she goes, oh my God, Steve. And I was like, I got it, girl. And she was like, I can't compete with that. I'm like, I know, that's why I brought it up. You know what I'm saying? So we have that respect. There's no animosity, there's no bitterness. But we had that conversation. And I hope I didn't, I hope I didn't delete it because I really want you guys to see this, the power of videos, right? Okay, now watch this. After she said, give me a call. So I gave her a call and she said, okay, I'm making the decision today. Well, anyway, I had done a long phone call with her and I talked to her not about pricing, but about strategy. Because those of you who are courageous enough to use the strategy that I'm using are going to kill it. And in a nutshell, the strategy was simply this. There's 3 different, so I'm not going to get clients focused on a price. We're going to have them focus on, I'm going to do the Jedi mind trick, and we're not prices in ammunition anymore. It's going to be the system. Okay? So I said, so there's basically 3 systems for selling houses. There's system 1 where you price the house higher than you think it's worth. So you have a lot of room to negotiate, and that's normally where you see some type of celebrity factor or some really unique feature of this property. Maybe it's on a hill overlooking a canyon, overlooking a beautiful view, and it's the only one in the neighborhood. And there's something distinctive that makes it ridiculously special. Or, hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger lived here. Right? Tina Turner lived here, and then people will pay more for it. The second strategy is what 99% of realtors use. And the second strategy is let's do a market analysis. Let's take a look at what the price looks like it could be on the house. Okay? And then let's see what happens. And you know, you're not in a rush, no big deal. The challenge with that is that days on the market is the enemy of equity. The longer a house sits on the market, the lower the price gets. Your price doesn't go up as it sits on the market. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at houses online? And they go, yes. Do you ever look at days on the market? Yes. When you see 4 or 5 months on the market, what do you think? Something's wrong with it. I said, so that's where 99% of realtors are operating. I said, today, my system is this. I will price your house at such a ridiculously aggressive price. List it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday and allow no showings until Sunday. Unless they call me and they want a private showing before it goes public. And I'll be here Saturday morning with a packet with the information. And here's what's going to happen. The price will be so aggressive that there should be 8 to 10 people parked outside of your house for that appointment Saturday morning with me. They all get out of their cars and look at each other. They're going to freak out. And she goes, oh my God. And then they have FOMO. It's like an auction thing. Like where they're like, I want it. And I said, thank you. And then they come in and I just say, here's the packets that I have. Here's what the CMA shows that we could have listed the house for and that I'm confident it will praise for. This isn't the sales price. This was a price to get you in here to compete, to get my seller the best that the market can offer right now in the least amount of time. Here's the terms she wants. Those of you who want it, if you make an offer today, Saturday, then I won't make it live tomorrow, Sunday. And I said, what will happen? We'll have 4 or 5 offers on your house. And then here's the best news for you. You can decide you like it or you don't like it. There's no obligation. And I just want a 30-day listing agreement. She flipped out. So guess what she said? She's like, it's not even about the price. Here's what she said. It was unbelievable. She goes, I don't care if you make $1 million in commission as long as I make what I want to make, which I know I can help her make. But I said, you want to go back to Italy in the next 30 days? And if you do this the traditional way, chances are it's not going to sell in that period of time. But if you follow my system and follow my leadership here, I will drive traffic to your home. I will get you multiple offers that first weekend, and then you can decide if you love one of those offers or not. I just want to pause for effect right now so you can freak out right now in this moment.
Are we recording that?
Angela,
I got that.
here's what she said next, and it was the most beautiful question. She goes, this makes so much sense. Why aren't all the realtors doing this? And I said, very easy. They lack the courage and they lack the confidence.
You didn't say werewolves.
Huh? I didn't say relatives. No, she didn't know
You
that.
didn't say werewolves.
I didn't say what? The werewolves, no. She was a wet eye. She might not have got that. You know what I mean? But I just said they lack the courage and they lack the confidence. I said, but this is human psychology 101. She goes, I totally get what you're doing. I totally get what you're doing. Now, you ready for the other part that you're going to lose your mind on? And then you're going to be like, oh, Steve, oh my God. And if you are, that's called a limiting belief. So let me ask you a couple questions first to get your feedback on this so that I can set you up for this. Number 1, have I been doing this for a minute?
Oh, yeah.
Number 2, am I above average in what I do?
Yes.
Number 3, are you confident that if I was working with you, you would win?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I said this, and you want to know the best news? She said, what's that? I said, I only charge 4%. That's it? I said, that's it. gonna charge 4%. She said, that's amazing. And I said, because it's never about the commission, it's about the net, right? She said, right. Okay, y'all ready? You can stop holding your breath and thinking I got weak. I said, so let me explain what will happen when offers come in. Because of the new laws that took place, buyer's agents must have a signed buyer's representation agreement with the buyers that they are representing before they can even show a house. And in that buyer's representation agreement, it has the fee that the buyer's agent is hoping to get from the seller. And if the seller is unable or unwilling, then it says their client must pay them. So the buyer's agent are still gonna request some type of a fee for the work that they do. And if the net that I bring you is fantastic and you're happy with the net, then you can decide whatever compensation you want to give them. It'll just be part of the negotiations. And she goes, that sounds great. What does that mean? Somebody tell me what that just means. Now tell me, you tell me what it means.
You got 7%.
I don't know how much. I know I'm getting 4.
Or you're letting them decide, but yeah.
I don't know, but I'm getting 4. I'm getting 4.
Right.
It's normally 3, right? Normally 3, but even, yeah.
With realtors, maybe it's 1 or 2.
But the way you deliver it, I'm only asking for 4%.
That's my fee. Now, the buyer's agent is gonna make the offer, is gonna make you an offer, and they're going to negotiate what they want for a fee in there. And ultimately, it's always about the net. And she said it again. I don't care if you make $1 million, as long as I make what I want to make. I'm like, yeah, because it's not about the sale price or the commission. It's about what are you gonna walk away with. Yeah? Okay, please.
Just a question on that,
Yeah.
okay, you have the listing and the buyer's agent calls, what is the buyer's agent commission?
Let's role play with me, and I want to show you exactly how I, and by the way, this is above board, this is ethical, this is, you just have to have the webbles. And ladies have the webbles. Ladies, you have their invisible webbles, but they're there. And they can be as big as you want. Okay, so just role play it with me. Role play it with me. I'm the listing agent. This is Steve Collins.
Hi Steve, I saw I have a buyer interested in your home at 123 Main Street.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Oh my gosh, we're getting so much traffic on that.
Oh wow, that's wonderful, so I wanted to,
Yeah.
see if, I'm gonna show it this afternoon, and,
Sure.
and if they, wanna submit an offer.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you what if your seller's paying them as agent.
Thank you so much for asking that question. I explained to the seller all of the options available to them. For compensation of the other agent, they understand how it works, and they simply said, well, Steve, it will depend on the offer. If the offer is good to us and it's reasonable to us, and they will negotiate that in the buyer's closing costs, we're more than happy to cover it as long as we make the net that we net. So ask for whatever you want, Catalina, and we'll see if you can get it.
Okay, yes,
Then there's more motivation for the buyer's agent to not ask for so much in closing costs and not undercut you on the sales price.
Now, thank you, that's a very subjective observation, okay? But generally, here's what I have come to realize is wisdom for me. I have no idea what the hell going on out there with Ardell. I don't know what's going on with anybody out there. I don't know what their conversations have been. That's one that'll definitely be there. There is another one that will definitely be there. There's a different one that'll definitely be there. Does that make sense? It's all different. Now, here's where you might get your feelings hurt when we have this conversation, because I work with buyers too.
Now, wait, one question.
You
What
know-
happens when you are in the opposite situation?
Say that one more time.
What happens when you are in the opposite, when you are the buyer, when you are the...
Oh, when the buyer says that?
When you
That's
are-
what if I was a buyer and
Yes.
somebody said they said to
Yes.
me, I'd say, wonderful, then I'm gonna do a clean market analysis. Now, first let me qualify that by saying this. In a traditional situation where that house has been on the market for 4 months and they don't have an offer and I'm not competing, I'm asking for every damn dime. I'm gonna say, you want our freaking contract? Take it, sucker. You know what I'm saying? This is a buyer's market. Hello? Take the offer or don't take the offer. And then I always coach the other agent, like right now, I just say, hey, I'm not gonna tell you how to do your job. I'll just tell you right now that when I'm getting offers on my listings, right now in August, when we miss that white hot laser intensity of people wanting to buy a house during the summer so their kids can start school, I'm advising my sellers, we better take what we can get right now because we are going into the season where it is literally slowing down on a multi-year trend. We're going into slow season right now. So for my sellers, I'm telling them, look at everything. So in that scenario, I'm coming in hard and I'm asking for it all. This is the brilliance of the system I'm telling you about. The brilliance of it is that if I was one of 4 people, and Catalina says, Steve, I have 4 offers on the table right now, make it good. Then that's when I start rethinking how I'm gonna use my strategy. Does that make sense? Angela's cousin graduated med school. We helped him to find a house. I came in like 50 grand below. Like I just said, he was like, oh my God, you can't. And Angela's like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, no, just trust me. Let's go to town. I'm just going to put it out there and put it out there. And he's like, it's not going to happen. And then he gave me the opening I needed. And he's realtor at our office, by the way, over at Heritage. And he's good, PT50 winner. And he said, smugly, Steve, they're not worried about it because they own the house free and clear. So they won't take that. To which I responded, I said, they own it free and clear. Yes, I said, wow. Hey man, I'm not going to tell you how to do your job, but in this situation that I've been in before where I have a seller who says I don't care how long it takes to sell because I own it free and clear, it's my job to remind them that their money is dead and dying and decaying in an asset that is depreciating in the eyes of the marketplace. Days on the market is an enemy to equity. You don't raise your price over time. You've already been on the market 4 months. That means he's 4 months of taxes, 4 months of maintenance, 4 months of challenges, and he thinks if he gets his price and it takes 6, 7, 8 months, that's okay. I have to remind my clients, you are losing money. And here's the language I use to help my clients. Bob, you paid cash for this house because you're an astute businessman with a really sharp mind for finances. You and your wife are brilliant when it comes to finances. This money is dead and dying. Please help me put that money back in your pocket now, because that equity in your pocket, buy NVIDIA today, versus stay on the market for 4 more months. You stay on the market for 4 more months, you're losing. Your money's dying. You're losing money. But if I put that money in your hands with your brain, you will multiply that money like that. You're not going to let it sit there. You're going to put that. Help me take your equity and put it back in your hands so you can put it to work and make money. You're going to make money when it's in your hands. There's a guaranteed loss if we just sit it here. He goes radio silent. And Angela's listening to me going, and he's like, yeah, hold on a minute, let me give him a call. And Angela goes, what do you think's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen? I just go watch. I put the phone like this on the kitchen table. Go watch. And then I tried to get cocky. I was like, 5, 4. It almost worked like that, right? And I answered it. What did he say?
Yeah, offer. They would,
We'll
they would
accept the
take
offer.
it.
We'll accept the offer. But, here's where it ties in. But, they're only willing to pay 2% commission at that price. I said, perfect. I got no problem with that at all. You don't? I said, no problem. Hung up. Called her cousin. I said, Isaac, I want to talk to you about math real quick. He goes, yeah. I said, would you be willing to pay $6 grand to make 48 or 40? What is it? 44. Would you be willing to pay $6 grand to make 44? He goes, all damn day. And I said, cool. I got the deal done, but they're only paying 2% commission, so you kick in the other one, and we got 42 G's off the price. He said, does that make sense?
Yeah. All about the delivery.
He was happy.
Yeah.
What did he say?
You set it up and it's all about the delivery.
This is. Are you getting where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Are you getting, and yes, that wasn't BS. It was smooth throughout the whole transaction. Right? We smooth those things up with our communication. Your communication is the critical component. And when that communication is on a foundation of integrity, excellence, practice. 500 videos to get the right one. Practice these conversations. When it's practiced over and over and over again, then you have the confidence to deliver that kind of a conversation. And you can either get it from experience and take 30 years, or you can be in a room like this and pick it up, right? But hearing it is just going to be entertaining and informational. It's infotainment for you right now until you choose to apply it and say, that is a damn amazing, great script. I need to take that, I need to get that recording, I need to put it on the rev, I need to transcribe it, I need to read that thing over and over and over, I need to practice, I need to do it in front of the camera, because if you can say it the way that I say it, and you will get the results that I get. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. You just have to practice it. Does that make sense? So curve, now, here's what I wanted to show you. I was so nice, I forgot to not be extra nice. And I just want to show you how funky I can get. Because I like being funky. So after I had that conversation with her, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot to tell her what I wanted to tell her. So I created a video, and I want you to feel the power of that video. Where is it? Okay, let me go to,
The estate sale lady?
yep. Where is it? Did I delete her? This would be very, very sad. Because I literally had it just pulled up. What the hell? That is scary. Because it just like disappeared. Okay, that's AJ. Where did she go? Hey, when somebody disappears out of my feed, just out of nowhere, what the hell was that all about? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, if they're the ones that put it on there, they could have added to it and deleted it.
Well, no, I mean, her contact's not even here now. And I literally just had it pulled up to play for you
She
guys.
blocked it?
Maybe the date and the date, maybe you deleted.
This is really, really, really freaky, y'all.
You can
Okay.
search.
Let me have AJ send that to me again real quick. I did. Hey, buddy. Oh, no, he's got it. It was the red. Let me download that thing one more time because I want you to see what I did because I want you to do the same thing. And so I'm doing all these things. Okay, create new contact. Done. Oh, she added a picture to it. That's what happened. Message with her dog and not her husband. How funny. Okay. After I was done, and I hung up the phone, like, if you get Mitzi, you're cool. If you get me, you're cool. Either way, you're cool. Does that make sense? Then, no shame, y'all. No shame in my game. Hey, one last thing, and I would be terrible at my job if I didn't share this. Okay, to be crystal clear. I'm cool, either way you're gonna win, but I want you to hear this. I want to help you. I wanna help you and your husband get that household because I know that we can create a great experience for you. So I want the job, okay? It's light and I will be at peace either way, but you need to hear from me. I want to work with you, okay? Take care. I forgot to ask for the business. To which she replied, laughing faces, thank you so much for the message. Because I realized I just told her, hey, I'm cool either way. I realize it's not true. I'm not cool either way. I want that damn listing. Does that make sense? Okay, so when we talk about cuddling, these are reasonable and these are things you want to think through. But what happens on either end? If I'm in a multiple offer situation, I pretty much get the second terms. Does that make sense? And I explained to her how it worked. Phase one, we look at who's the realtor, because the offer is typically only as good as the realtor presented. Because a top agent that I'm familiar with has sat down with these people, they're working with their preferred lender, they're fully approved and qualified, and I know there's gonna be no BS, I'm not gonna have to walk them through the process. This is going to be this type of transaction. If Missy brings the buyer, this type of transaction. Does that make sense? I'm like, done deal. If hers is $5,000 less, yeah, but hers is pretty much a guaranteed done deal because she has super high standards and she's a pro. That make sense? Where, you know, Billy Bob Thornton over here, whose license is 1 day old, nice guy, don't wanna be a guinea pig on that deal. But if it's significantly higher, then I'm calling him and talking to him and seeing, one, does he have a clue? Number two, who are they approved with? Well, no, they just told me they wanted to buy a house, and like, we still need to go, but they went online with Quicken, blah, 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 blah. Does that make sense? That's the kind of stuff I'm avoiding as the unprofessional, or just ignorant. They just don't know what they need to do to have a strong offer. Does that make sense? So I said, number one is we judge by the agent, and I will call all of them. Number two, we judge by the skin in the game, the down payment, the type of financing, VA, FHA versus conventional, to talk about lender required repairs. This is an older property, right? And it has some lender required repairs. So I explained that. And then we're going to get down to the net. Now, here's what I want you to take away from this whole conversation, because we're talking about summer presentation this morning, all right? I want you to walk away from it with, it's in your head and it's in your colleagues' heads, price and commission. And that's because that's what people talk about. What I'm wanting to shift your paradigm to is the real deal for your clients is, what am I gonna walk away with? I don't care what you do with your voodoo magic paper, whatever. Add this plus this minus this. I don't care what you have to do. And then I love this statement. Kevin, it looks like with this offer, you're gonna walk away with $340,000. Can you live with that? And it just like that. Well, the net's $340. Thank you. Right? This offer will bring you $340. Okay? It looks like, Kevin, you'll walk away with $340,000. Can you live with that? Can you live with that? Can you live with that? It's really hard to look at you and go, I can't live with that. They can say, well, yeah, I was really hoping for more. I was hoping to be 6 feet tall. Just saying. You know, oh, yeah, I was hoping that I could lose my left hand, bro, I've been trying so hard. You know, you can have fun with it like that. Yeah, no, I get it. I get that's what you're hoping for. So what I want to hear from you is, do you want me to then go back to them and tell them we want something different, or what are your thoughts? And then you have that conversation with them, depending on what the nuance of the negotiation is. Well, what do you think, Steve? Well, we've been on the market for 4.5 months. This is a fair offer. We had 3 homes you were competing with when I listed, and now we have 9 homes that we're competing with. By the way, I'm never going to have that conversation again, because literally it was just a few months ago that we started helping Amza's friend and hairdresser and all that, that I'm like, I'm going to use this strategy. And then yesterday when I talked to a fresh homeowner who did not know me from anybody, like there's no relationship, no referral, nothing, this is just a woman who's liquidating her mom's house, who was sweaty and stressed out and just freaked out, that didn't know me from Adam. When she heard this, she was like, I get it. She literally said, I get it. That's incredible. Why aren't all realtors doing that? They lack the confidence, big time. They lack the courage to have this kind of conversation. But I'm incredibly confident. That's why I'm willing to sign a listing agreement for 30 days. And I only charge 4%. How freaking insane is that? Is that crazy? That's showing 7%. No, on the commission, on the net sheet, Catalina, it is not going to show. So it's going to say 4%. And then under buyer's concessions, it's going to have the 3 that they're asking for the realtor. Does that make sense? They're asking for this. Basically, Catalina, let me tell you what that means. You're not really paying that. What they're doing is they're asking their buyer to finance it through your home. So when they get a loan, that 3% is built into loans through making little bitty payments on that 3%. So you're not really paying for that, if you will. Did you guys follow that? That's mathematics. There's how many ways you can communicate that. That's your craft. You practice those conversations over and over and over and over again until you get comfortable saying it. Because your confidence in that appointment, if I was at all like, Okay, so here's a thing that I just started doing a couple months ago, but it's been pretty fruitful. And I know it's gonna sound scary, okay, I know it's gonna sound scary, but I know you've probably never heard this before, but, so let me explain how this works. They're gone. Does that make sense? They're gone. Literally with confidence, you can say, the key to my success is on open house day, I take one of those giant gorillas that they put on gas stations at the opening and I put it on your roof. I'm gonna have a giant gorilla going like this, and all my houses sell because I got a giant gorilla. When I put that giant gorilla, let me tell you something, man, that thing's blessed. I got anointing oil from Israel on that thing. Like, it will sell. They would be like, put the gorilla, I can put a gorilla on a damn house with enough confidence. Does that make sense? God, I just had a good idea. I might just suggest. I love it. Okay, I'm having an aha moment for myself right now. How unbelievable of a buzz would it create in a house community if I had a giant freaking gorilla on top of a house that said Collins Group? Come by me. Oh my God. Okay, you guys will get the first picture. You'll be like, I was there when he said that. Because I guarantee you, it would be on the news, people would give me shit, the HOA would go nuts, and bad advertising is still advertising. And when they say, what the hell do you think? I say, well, if I was your realtor and it helped you get your house sold, wouldn't you want me to do that for you? I mean, it's easy for you to judge until you call me to come sell your house. Anyway, I'm ready for the fight. Okay, you guys kind of follow where I'm going with this? That's where you drill down, drill down, drill down, drill down, drill down on your practice. Practice, 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 practice. Okay,
I have
please.
just, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
You know, that I actually have used that on some of the listings that I have, and we have reduced the price. Now, what about the ones that don't have the equity?
Here's the way I look at it. If the equity is not there to do that, then that's the explanation you have. And it's professional. In 2008, when I'd been selling for 10 years, in 2008, I said, I know you bought the house for $250 last year, but based on the fact that you have 32 houses in the neighborhood that are on sale, we're lucky to get 200 for it. And you owe more than that, so you would have to write a check for X to sell your house. So we need to look at alternatives for you if you've got to get out from it. Alternative one is do your best to turn it into a rental, but because the market is flooded and everybody's doing rentals, the rental rate is low and you'll still have to come out of pocket. Number two, you don't move, you just stay here, and it is what it is. You don't get to reach the goal that you want. That's a tough one. Number three is we work with an attorney to do a type of a seller finance that I can discuss with you in detail called a mortgage wrap, or what they called back then a contract for deed, or a sub-2. And I can discuss the different type of owner finance that is available that mitigates your risk, but it should get your house payment paid for in most cases. You might not make a penny, but you'll have somebody living in the house. Here's the key for all of you guys to remember this, with mental ownership. A renter treats the house a certain way. Someone who says, I am buying this house through owner finance, this is my house, is going to treat the house differently. And it's just in here. Does that make sense? And there's risks associated with that. A bank could say, what did you do? Well, he said you couldn't do that when you bought the house. We're calling it out, pay us in full. But they don't say that when you're making house payments. But they still need to know that could happen. Let me ask you guys a question. How many people do you know in your world right now that if the bank called and said, hey, we're calling the note, you need to pay it off in full right now? How many people do you know that could go, oh, let me write you a check? The people that I know can do it actually own their homes. You know what I'm saying? Right? So the banks don't want to do that because that's stupid, because they're gonna lose money big time. So as long as that payment's being made, I know during 08 when we were doing all of those, the banks were going, la, 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 la. Keep making the payments, keep making the payments. Does that make sense? So if they don't have the equity, here's my simple options. Number one, I'd rather turn you down now than let you down later. I'm not going to be like the other realtors you interviewed who are going to price it the way you want and turn your house into a marketing tool for them to get business for the next 6 months while you guys are miserable and disheartened. Because the only realtor who would put a sign in your yard at that price is incompetent, they don't know math, or they're shady and they're using your house as a marketing tool. or for their own ego to say, I got a listing. But they're not being fiduciary to you because the numbers don't lie. You know, and I hope you understand, I don't get a paycheck. I don't like get a check each week. I only earn income when I produce a result. And so I'm talking myself out of a job too. That's how much integrity I have with you today. And by the way, if I put my sign in your yard, because I'm so well versed in real estate, I could over the next 6 months pick up 5 or 6 new clients by having a sign in your yard. But that's shady. I would have to be looking at you in the eyes, lying to you, telling you I think there's hope. Does that make sense? And so I don't have the integrity to do that. Now, let me put a pause on this. There are some realtors who have justified it by saying, well, but you never know. I mean, you never know. Somebody with cash could come who's stupid and overpay for their house and not get an effect. It could happen. And you know what I say to that? That's fair. That's fair. Steve Collins is not going to spend the money on photography, not going to put his reputation on the line, not going to put something out there where I go to bed at night thinking about these poor people looking at my sign and not having good feelings. There's disappointment in that. Our house is not selling. What is this guy doing? Hey, what's happening with your house sale? I don't know. All my realtor wants to do is keep dropping the price. Yeah, I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't deal with all that noise in my head. So I prefer to walk away. That's how I do it, Carolina. And so it's just a professional conversation. Here's where we're at. Here's what the market says right now, and here's my thoughts on it. Here's the options. What makes sense to you? Well, we're just going to go with Billy Bob anyway. I said, fair enough. Understand. But now they know Billy Bob's incompetent or he's shady. Because there's no two other ways. If someone takes an overpriced listing, they're incompetent or shady, or can I maybe make a third? They're deceived into thinking they're doing something good. They're believing a lie in their own head. Well, maybe. Right? And so I'm not going to judge that. I just don't talk about that person because then I sound like I'm waxing philosophical. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too deep in the woods with them. I said, there is this other option. I like shadier. Does that make sense? Because you can have compassion on somebody who's deceived. I don't want to have compassion for shady or for incompetent. Like, no, this is a big deal for me. I need you to be competent. No, I don't want you to use me. Don't use me and my family. Don't use our house. Don't use us. That's not right, right? Does that make sense? So I know this is a heavy conversation, but let me just tell you this. In 2008, I walked away from probably 40 listings because of this. You owe this, the house can sell for this. You can't sell. In and out. Make sense? It was like really hard emotionally. Because I got to pay for the gas and pay for the drive and know the chances. And it only happened one time in Alamo Ranch with the doctor who had made a crap ton of money in Virginia, and then it's just like, hey, I'm still ahead of the game. You know, I mean, it worked one time when I told him you'd have to write a check for 40 grand. 40 grand, that's it. Wow. You know, only once. And I'm still shocked to this day. I'm still shocked. So I learned my lesson that if I at least have the conversation, I never know what their level of desperation is. It could be like, well, my dad said if I was ever in a bind, he would help me out. What does your dad do? He owns Microsoft. Oh yes, that would be a good time for him to help you. Call Bill, get the check, be a charity, you know? So you do never know how resourceful they're going to be if it's important enough. And then I had to face those clients who said, well, we can't stay here, we can't make the payment, we don't know what to do. We're just going to live in it until the bank takes it from us. And that's tough, okay? All right, any questions or observations? I would love to hear your ahas so far this morning from what I shared with you, because like I'm literally on the field. I'm literally doing this face-to-face conversations. That makes sense? So give me some feedback, give me some, yes, Rick?
Well, my aha was like, you know, taking listings with like, you know, real equity, because I helped, you know, some buyers buy a house, and they're military, well, the husband's military, his wife's a nurse. And he was overseas, he was thinking he was gonna be stationed in San Antonio, and work in San Antonio, but they moved him to Georgia. And then they called me and they're like, yeah, we gotta sell the house or rent it. I'm like, okay, so out of ignorance, I took it, and now I feel like convicted. But, so I'm, you know, here just banging my head about like what to do now, cause they have an empty house. Luckily, him being military, they don't pay for housing at the base.
Yeah.
So, but they are paying the mortgage.
We are paying the mortgage on it. Well, so let's have the conversation real quick. Based on this new conversation, what solutions could you offer to him that you would want offered to you if you were in the same situation? This is, by the way, this is a model of thinking that I know.
Okay.
If I was in my client's shoes, but with what I know, what information would I want to hear, even if it was hard to hear? So let's think about that for a minute. Ray, what do you think are some options for you?
Okay, so there are some options we can use. One is more of like a marketing to open it up to more buyers. Being that it's a VA loan, we can offer be a VA assumable loan.
Does it have a low rate or something?
It doesn't really have a low rate, but the gap is really small.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be, but the rate's like 6.2, so it's like not even close to what, it's not anything attractive.
Yeah, assumable are normally attractive if the rate is really
Really,
good.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Seller financing, since you were gonna have the option of renting it, you know, you could put someone in there who's gonna, you know, pretty much rent to own it, and they'll treat your house better, and, you know, will you put the timeline as to when they have to purchase it?
Yeah, and so educating him on that, so hey, look, here's what we can do. What is the sell price, like $350?
Right now we're at 323.
Okay,
Comps are showing like, for a house like that, the highest I've seen was like 310, but their lowest to where they break even is like 320.
okay. So yeah, so that would be like one that Catalina is discussing where, I mean, it's just like, okay, here's the facts, here's our options at that time versus getting the listing. But if it's now, hey, based on some new research that I've done that I've put together, here's gonna be my suggestion. I don't project that going into the slower season that your house price is gonna go up. The longer a house is on the market, the lower the offers tend to be, okay? And even for you to break even, you'd have to be at about $10,000 higher than what's going in the neighborhood right now. So we just need to have the hard conversation right now, okay? I'm gonna bring you the truth. You wanted a realtor who would tell you the truth, right? After my new calculations, here's the options I see. You can rent it out. Renters treat houses different. Or we can explore a couple of, you know, seller finance type options where we demand there's gotta be a 5% or a 10% down payment. We have a reasonable term on the interest rate, but we set a balloon, 3-year or 5-year, when the buyer is gonna have to get their own loan. And if the buyer doesn't pay, you can get the house back. Because it's not a traditional house sale, you don't have to go through all of the same rigmarole that you used to. That's where the attorney comes in handy, is that you can structure that offer in such a way that they don't have the same rights that a homeowner would have with a bank. Does that make sense? Like if you had to play hardball, which really sucks when you have to do it, but at some point, it's either the renters who are not paying are gonna suffer, or the owner's gonna suffer. So you can structure the paperwork to say, if you don't make the payments, like you've gotta be out in 10 days. Like it can be very, very punitive if they don't perform. But that's an option. Does that make sense? And the people that put the bigger down payment are more likely to actually close on the property and not lose it. So it would be time to have that conversation. I would say today would be a good time to have it. Because it's not gonna change, right? It's just gonna, they're up there going, what is happening with their house? I don't know. Because you know the details. They may have heard it, but they got a lot going on. Make sense? So that's what I would do. Make sense? Cool. Okay, Mandy, you have a question too?
Yeah, so you were saying about the lady you met with, how you just, I guess you still presented to her even after or still asked for the business even after she let you know about the other realtor. So that kind of made me feel a little better for doing something similar.
Mhm.
I was going back and forth with myself once I found out this person that was referred to me by one of my VIP partners, my insurance partner. She usually refers to me, but by the time, I spoke with this gentleman, he had already started working with somebody else just a couple of days ago.
Mhm.
But he had several questions still, so I still added value. And then, when I spoke to him, he had already submitted an offer on a house. But like I said, he still had questions, so I still added value. Well, then come to find out, he still reached out to me after, and, he let me know that he went ahead and backed out of the house, lost his inspection money. And then, he was still looking for something, so we're still in contact. I met with him in person, I did ask for the business. So that's where we're at, but I did feel kinda shady. I'm like, I don't know if I should be doing this, but.
Well, there could be major shady here if he had a signed buyer's representation agreement, because then it's supposed to be an off-limits
Well,
conversation.
so he does have a buyer's agreement, but he's still reaching out, asking questions. He decided to pause on whatever they have going on, and I did let him know, I can help you as long, whenever
Yeah.
you have been fully released from that buyer's agreement.
Okay, so I'm not gonna embarrass you here. I think it's a teaching moment for all of us because we have to learn this. The script is the very first time we have to find out, because I'm gonna just do a worst case scenario. If the other realtor found out, he was talking to you and you were advising him, he could file a formal complaint with Shrek and you would be guilty of interference with someone who has a signed buyer rep agreement. So that's a black and white thing for us. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a physician he's a physician out in Bernie, he and his wife are 5 a.m. CrossFit people. And they came in and said, man, our house has been on the market for 5 months. There's a place called Hart Ranch going out towards Medina Lake. Beautiful, beautiful place they had. Our house has been on the market for 5 months. We don't know what our realtor's doing, and we're just like really stressed out. And people are telling us you're the guy. I wish we would have known about you. We would have gone with you. We just didn't know. And so can we have the conversation with you? They were both there after workout, right? Can we have the conversation with you? And I said, Vince, Jerry, it would be a violation of my license for me to have this conversation with you. And listen, there's no police out here that are gonna come in and arrest me or find me. But I'm a Boy Scout at heart and I follow the rules. It's integrity. And it would be an egregious violation for me to have any kind of a conversation with you while you have a written agreement with us as a realtor, okay? So I can't have the conversation, but here's what I'll tell you. If it doesn't work out and you let your realtor go, not only can I help you, I will help you and I'll get the house sold. There's no question in my mind. That's what I did. And they said, okay, well, thank you very much. And then they walked away the next day. Now, there's a great part of the story and a horrible part. The next day, they said, we fired our realtor so that we could talk to you. Oh, you told her we were hiring you. And I was like, okay, cool. And she was a realtor at KW Heritage.
Oh, no.
I was just like, and she left the brokerage after being there for like 10 years. Like it pissed her off that bad. Like, and Craig goes, what happened here? I told him, and he was like, well, she should have sold the damn house then. Okay, I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that. So, I shouldn't have said, but the bottom line was, he's like, well, I mean, she obviously wasn't doing what she had to do, and you did the right thing, and here's what she told me, and I'll give you her first and last name, Jerry Coleman. She came to me and she said, the second that you said what you said, we knew we had to fire her because we asked 2 other realtors and they both told us what she was doing wrong and how she was messing up and what they would do different. And when you said, I'm not even gonna have the conversation, we knew you're our guy because your standards. Like that's freaking cool, right? Yeah. So when you find out, that's the conversation you have up front, no matter if you have the actual solution and the answer and everything and you can help. That's the conversation, and then the respect for you as a professional goes through the roof. If you have a signed buyer's representation agreement, it would be an egregious license violation for me, and I could be fined for that. Now, no police are going to come out here and cuff me, but I'll know in my conscience, and as a professional, I'm not going to cross that line. Here's what I can tell you, though. I guarantee you're going to love working with me. So if your expectations are not met, and you choose to let go of your realtor, I'll be here for you. But until that time, I can't interfere with what they are doing with you. Does that make sense? But you need to understand something. If your needs and desires and wants are not being met in that professional relationship, you can terminate it. That's your right. Okay, but I can't have a conversation with you further than that. You may never hear from them again, but you gain, that integrity. So that would be, so I wouldn't say it was shady, because shady would be, hey, I know I'm not supposed to do this, and I'm doing it anyway. Right? That would be shady. This would just be like compassion. You have a good heart, you want to help the guy. But you're helping yourself in your business and your subconscious and him to really have a higher level of respect for you when you say, here's the rules. And by the way, there's nobody coming out here to hold me accountable to these rules. I'm holding myself accountable to these rules. Because it says a lot about you as a person when you communicate that to a client. Because they know if you have this level of integrity with yourself and you're not jonesing for a deal with me, your integrity is more important than getting me as a client, I really want you as a realtor. You follow?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be the way to go with that. Yeah, and so that's why I asked her, I said, did you sign anything? She says, I haven't signed anything. And that's when I knew it was fair game. That's why I go for the jugular very gently. But she doesn't have anything signed, so it's okay. But she had been to the house, she had walked through the house, she had done a market analysis, she had done all the things. But she tried, this is the part I left out. The reason we find out is that when she was gonna list it, the next door neighbor said, hey, we'll buy your house. She called Missy and said, hey, I don't need you anymore because the next door neighbor's gonna buy the house. They bought 3 or 4 houses. And then 2 or 3 days before it was supposed to close, the lender called and said they were using fraudulent income. And the deal fell apart, and that's where she started talking to the neighbors about, I can't believe the deal fell apart. And that's how word got to me and AJ. And so I'm gonna give you 3 words right now that I need all of you to really wrap your brain around for sure. Because Mandy, of what you said, and I've heard stories of people in real estate, don't raise your hand, that were told, I want help. They raise their hand, I'd like a CMA, I'd like to know what my house is worth, and then there was delay, okay? Never forget this. That might as well be Psalm 151. Everybody say it loud with me, please.
Time kills deals.
Okay, I'm gonna, so we solidify this. I'm gonna start in the back, and everybody tell me what you think that means to you. What does that mean to you? I love that you're thinking about
I
it.
really am, because it's nothing that's just blaring out at me.
Mm-hmm. Think of the scenario that I just brought up. Hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. Hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. Maybe you could do a CMA for me. Hey, I was looking at this area in Chavino. Okay. And then the story you just told. When you got back to him, he was already
under contract.
working with somebody else.
So the longer you wait.
Let's go. If you want to pause on this right now?
Yeah, so I'm thinking, I'm trying to just wrap my mind around it. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I don't know if I'm just trying to go too deep.
Trying to go real surface.
Time kills deals.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you don't execute on the moment, you lose out the opportunity.
I was gonna say set the appointment.
Katie?
Well, I have personal experience with time-killing deals because when I was hosting an open house, probably when I first got licensed, I didn't know what I didn't know, and so I had somebody that walked in that was ready, but I didn't reach out in time. I waited a few days, and by the time I called them, they're like, oh yeah, but we already found something, and we closed. And I'm like,
So what does time kills deals mean to you now?
you need to act, because leaving any time in between it's a matter of losing a deal.
Follow up right away.
Right?
To me, time kills deals like when they choose to list or buy, like you go to the appointment, they haven't signed listing agreement, they said they are buyers, when they're not, they're not getting pre-approved, we're not seeing houses, all this. Time when we make changes or go see houses and put in an offer, days on market. It affects the seller by equity just being lost, buyer losing opportunities and will either have to settle, quit, or pay more for their house.
Okay, Catalina, what does that mean to you?
It means that the longer you wait or hesitate or, don't consistently follow up, the more missed opportunities you have.
Love the word.
Mhm.
How about you, Sonny? How do you interpret it?
I think you need to be confident, so you can ask at the moment still, because
Sure does help.
you need to be present in that moment because that is when everything happens. So.
Perfect. And there's a sensitivity to that, by the way. There's a sensitivity to the energy behind that. If I'm there and Kevin's up house and says, I think we're ready right now. Oh, you really? You ready by now? Like today? Oh my God, I've been waiting for you. Let's go look it out. Like, oh, okay. That's thirsty. Is thirsty a good word? You can't be thirsty, right? And you have to use wisdom like that. Inside, like, you're just like, wonderful. That's fantastic. Cool. And inside, go, Put it in. All right? What does time kills do?
If somebody has a need, you fulfill that need right away, or they're gonna find someone else who will do it for them.
Love it.
Time is money, and that's for the seller, the buyer, and the agents involved.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I felt like I heard back there with, basically just, if you wait to respond, there's higher probability you're gonna lose out completely.
Okay, good.
I feel like you have to keep momentum or else it'll fall apart.
Okay.
All gas, no brakes.
That's great. Okay, every one of you is correct in what your assessment is. The bottom line is this. Let me ask you this. If you wanted to order something today on Amazon and you had the option of getting it next week or getting it by 10 p.m. today, what would you choose? Same price. Okay. So, see, your competition is not Mr. Staters or David Schrader or Robert Eller. Your competition is Amazon. Your competition is Mercedes-Benz and Bernie. Their competition is Ken Bachelor Cadillac. Now Sewell Cadillac, whatever. Okay, your competition is companies and organizations that have created a sense among the nation of what excellent service and timeliness looks like. I literally lost my mind because I ordered something the other day from, I think it was a Lululemon website, something like that. I ordered some athletic pants and stuff. I'm straight, by the way. They weren't the yoga pants, okay? They weren't the yoga pants, all right? But I was like, okay, this is cool. Boop. And then it was like estimated delivery, and it was like 13 days. And I was like, what the? Oh! Like, I got mad. And I'm like, ooh, Amazon, you have set the bar for me.
Yeah.
So here's what I want you to think about. Speed to lead is what wins. 78% of people will hire the first freaking realtor they meet. 78%. So you need to be the first one there. And so what happens? There's two things. You use the word confidence. I'm going to use the word lazy. Okay? You got to be confident. You don't want to be lazy. You don't want to rest on your laurels. You don't want to take it for granted. You don't want to overthink it. Nothing makes a person feel more seen and heard than when they mention something out there in the universe and then you show up. Hey, heard today. This is literally how it happened. I'm at home, I'm working, and my son AJ comes in and goes, hey, I heard something interesting at the bar today. There's this lady out here in Helotes, and she tried to sell a house to her neighbor, and she was real frustrated, and she was telling the neighbor, and the neighbor said, hey, my bartender's getting his real estate license, and his dad's been in the market for a long time. I said, okay, hold on a second. Is it Helotes? He goes, yeah. And I was just like if he had said, it's in Sunrise on the east side. You know, probably, I might not have been as excited, right? I might have tripped a little bit. Okay, I ain't judging the east side, I'm just saying. That in my old days, before Jesus, my BC life, I spent some time over there, and it did not end well, okay? But my point is that I was like, okay, wonderful. And so what's happening? And then AJ was going to room. I go, don't go to your room. Come over here real quick. He's getting his apartment this Friday, so he's staying with us, which is awesome. It's been a cool 3 weeks. And while they get his apartment ready. And so I said, don't go to your room, man. Hold on a second. Get back over here. And he's like, what? I go, hold on, bro. Talk to me. I'm getting the pulse of finances coming into our home right now. and you can train. And he says, okay. I said, sit down for a minute. Okay. Tell me everything. He tells me the story. I said, call that dude now and tell him to call that lady that we're on our way over. He goes, Dad, I go to work at like 3. I go, it's 1 o'clock. No, dress. We're going now. But I said, bro, time kills deals. Time kills deals. Go change. I know you wanted to come and chill. Do you want to chill or do you want a few grand? And he was like, let me go change. Right? By the way, that works very well. So he comes back downstairs and we go over like that. And here's literally what she said. I'm having this little dilemma because this is supposed to come over tomorrow. She delayed her day. Today's Tuesday. We went over there Sunday. She delayed her yesterday, and yesterday she said she was going to make a decision today. If I had waited till Monday, wouldn't even be on the field. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is a lesson that comes from me losing thousands of dollars. Here's what you need to think about. As soon as you hear about somebody interested in real estate, you want to say, do I want to be the United States Postal Service or Amazon Prime at your house by 10 p.m.? What's going to make these people feel better? You just can't have thirsty love. You can't be jonesing. For those of you who have a little hood. I'm sorry, I shouldn't use that word. You can't be super desperate for it, like it can't come off like you're super desperate. Hey, I heard you were, oh my God, I just told him like 30 minutes ago. Yeah, you did want a realtor who's responsive, right? Is it important you have a realtor who's responsive, that doesn't delay, who's not lazy? That's hardcore, by the way. Well, I never thought about that. Yeah, wonderful. Look, you don't have to be ready to buy or sell, but I have found that it's never too soon to have a conversation, because there's a lot of things that I can help you think through. You know, no obligation at all. If you want me to help you think it through, I'll just be a thought partner with you. I'll give you some consultation, some ideas, some things you might want to consider. We can talk about what your options are. And if it's a good time for you, great. If it's not, great, but at least you'll be informed. How was today at 3 o'clock? Do you know what I'm saying? That if you can't have these conversations, you will not do well in this business. Everything else pushy. Push, Papa. Push. Not ugly. It's professional. If there's 2 professionals and one has been in this class and is trained to do this, and they move quickly, 78% hire the first person. 78%. That means 8 out of 10 people are not going to go, well, David, it was nice meeting you, but we've decided since this is the largest investment in our lives, I think we're going to go ahead and do some research, and we're going to interview 4 or 5 realtors, and we'll get back with you. 2 out of 10 people will do that. Does that make sense? 2 out of 10 people. And by the way, if it ever happens, here's what I say. I say, Kevin, I'm going to give you my word. Okay? And I'm going to ask you to give me your word. Give me your word that you will not hire anybody until you see me. I want to go last. Yeah. Because then I can show you how what I do and how my system works, how different it will be from the other 4 that you're going to interview. It'll be night and day, but you won't appreciate it until you see how everybody is doing the same thing and I'm doing something very disruptive and innovative. Give me your word that I can go last and you won't hire anybody before you see me. It's hard for a guy to go, I'm not going to give you my word and do that. It'll be hard for them a little bit, but one of the 2 of us is going to be stronger in this conversation. They want a realtor they can follow the lead from. Like, that's not ugly. That's not mean. That's just saying, no, I'm taking a chance. That's why I say, give me your word. Because I say, hey, I'm going to go last. If they get somebody like me, and I'm first, I'm like, you like everything you see, you're comfortable and confident that I'm the person that can help you. Here's a service that I'm going to provide you. My very first service is, you give me the names and number of the other 4 realtors you're going to be interviewing, and I'm going to call them from my car before I leave a job and say, Taylor, John decided to hire me. I've signed a listing agreement, but you're still welcome to bring a buyer to our listing. And I'll call all the people for you. You won't even have to call them. You won't have to waste your time. If you can't imagine yourself doing that, please start imagining yourself doing that. Does that make sense? And I've literally had someone go, That's a little aggressive. I said, did you want a passive negotiator? You want a passive realtor? Please don't take my intensity for sloppiness. I'm a professional. I execute quickly. And then I steal the line from the wolf in Pulp Fiction. I go, I think fast, I talk fast, I act fast. And if you want to sell your house fast for top dollar, you want to work with me. Is anybody a Pulp Fiction fan?
Yeah, that's what
The wolf said, please would be nice. Excuse me, what did you say? I'm just saying, I don't like people barking orders at me. Forgive me. If I'm curt, it's because time is a factor. I think fast, I talk fast, and I act fast. And if you guys want to get out of this, you better clean the car pretty fast. Now, pretty please with sugar on top. Clean the effing car. Yes, I memorize lines in movies. Okay? But I use that line, and nobody's caught it when I get that. I think fast, I talk fast, I act fast, and I help you get your home sold fast for top dollar. Okay? You did want an aggressive realtor who would get it done, right? You don't want a passive realtor, do you? Well, no, I never thought about that. It's a good time to think about it. You guys following? Your practice will help you do that, okay? You guys okay? I'm a little fired up today. I think the WD-40 has me excited. I want you guys to post this, and I want to say, I don't know what they're saying, but my class gave me lube today. This is called deal lube. Your deals will go smooth. This is so sweet, you guys. That was the coolest thing. I love it. Something fresh for me today. I'm going to take that today when I go teach. By the way, for those of you that didn't see it, if you look at my Facebook post, that office is doing this thing for 3 days. I'm speaking from 1:30 to 3:30 on Motivate from the Heart, Not the Hype. And then tomorrow I'll be doing turning practice into a game. And then Thursday it will be Stop Burnout Before It Begins. Okay?
Where?
So,
Just 1:30 to 3:30 each day?
no, just today, but I can, Angela, could you send them the schedule that Jacob sent me? So you can see when I'm going to be speaking over you. Me, Art Fernandez, Matt Dela Cruz, James Smothers, a couple of other guys, I'm not sure who they are. I think one guy runs a title company, I think.
And where's he gonna be at? Oh, it's up before 10
First Choice Realty by 410 in Callahan.
Yeah.
Angela can give you
Right,
details. Yeah, but it's the next 3 days. I think 1:30 to 3:30 today, tomorrow.
I don't know if it's at First Choice. It was a Woodcock Drive.
Yeah, no, it's First Choice West. It's their new office. That's why they're bringing people to it. So you have First Choice over there behind the
By
airport,
the Hunt.
and First Choice
Okay.
West, which is over here. They just
I
opened
thought
the
it was
West
something
location.
else. Okay. I'm
Okay.
going to the wrong place then.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll
you
see you
can
there,
get
babe.
the No, this is a place at Route 410 in Callahan.
Okay.
The old DPS office. Okay?
It's 4203 Woodcock Drive, Suite
that's-
110.
Okay.
4203?
4302, sorry, 4302
4302 Woodcock Drive.
Woodcock Drive, Suite 110.
Okay. Now, when you get there, you're gonna see a bunch of little signs pointing you to the building next door, because he called me last night and they said, hey, we have a big, beautiful room with the AC's out. We have a different room upstairs with no elevator, but it's got AC. Where would you rather? Bro, do you even have to ask me? You better not. If I teach hot, it is bad for everybody. I can't teach hot. I have to be nice and cool down. Okay. So what I'm going to give you today, some of you may have seen before, but here's what I promise. Even if you've seen it before or been in the class before, I guarantee you none of you are doing it. Because if you were doing it, you would be ringing my phone off the freaking hook, losing your mind. Going, I cannot believe, Steve, they told me they would hire me before I even did the CMA. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. What I have in my hand here, I created to manifest and fulfill what my mentor Zig Ziglar said. And he coined the last part of this phrase. A lot of gurus have said these over the years, this statement, but Zig added the last two words that changed everything. And it's this quote. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care about them. I can do business with a know-it-all who gives me creeper vibes, or maybe arrogant, or maybe he doesn't care. Or I can have little Johnny who's been on the job 2 days that really connects with me, listens to me, pays attention to me, and that I feel like, man, this guy really, really cares. Does that make sense? Okay? So the idea here behind this, now Angela, do you have these printed out so we can give the folks? Well, before we do that, I just want to do that. Before we do that, and I got Ron Trevino to cancel his appointment so I can stay a little bit later with you guys, okay? We're going to do this over the next 10 minutes, and then I'm going to get ready, and then Angela's going to walk you through the lead gen part, okay? Oh, really, I was going to say, oh, that's okay. Go ahead, hand out. So I need a role play partner who will be a seller and that will sit up here with me as we just have a simple conversation. I'm going to be the realtor, and if you can imagine that you're a seller, then I want you to come up here with me and we will role play together. Okay?
Ray has answers.
No.
Somebody who sold a house before.
I role played with Steve at an open house.
Okay, somebody who sold your own home before. You have had a house and you sold it before. Somebody, anybody. Going once, going twice. Miss WD-40, you are up. I was going to choose if nobody else chose.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Kaylee, this is going to be so easy for you. There's nothing hard for you. You're not going to be the realtor. You're going to be the seller. You're going to be the seller. Okay, now I want everybody to make sure you observe. Okay, so here's what has happened to get to this table. All right, we're at her kitchen table. But here's what's happened leading up to getting to your kitchen table. I knocked on the door. How you doing? Kaylee, Steve Collins with Keller Williams. We had an appointment at 3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock. She says, wonderful. Come on in. Are you ready to take a tour of the house? Okay, that's what she says. Here's what I say. As I'm standing there, well, Kaylee, thank you so much, and I am looking forward to touring your house. But let me just share something with you. It's going to sound a little bit interesting. I'm not really worried about getting your house. I'm not worried about it. Not because it's become less tedious or complicated. I've just done it so much. I know I'm going to be able to get your house sold for you. What I'm more concerned about is creating a 5-star world-class experience for you and your husband and your family. You've got 2 littles, you've got a lot going on. And one of the ways I've done that is by slowing down up front and conducting what I call a seller interview. It's a questionnaire that helps me understand the things that are most important to you and why. So that at the end of that conversation, if you're comfortable and confident that I'm the realtor to help you get your house sold, we're going to determine we're either going to be a great match or we're not going to be a match, okay? And if we determine we're a great match, then I'll walk through your house and take a look at everything and make note of everything if you choose to hire me. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. Now, did everybody hear that? Tell me what you think is going to happen. What are they going to say when you come up with that approach? Just off the top of your head, what do you think?
Impressed.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's not like anything I've seen before.
Huh?
That's not like anything I've seen
Right.
before.
It's different.
It is.
He cares about us, is what I would think.
It's a major pattern interrupt. They are not expecting that because 99 out of 100 realtors are going to go, yes, let's go look at your house. And while we're looking at your house, I'm going to go, oh my God, you have a little vanilla poodles. Oh my God, you're in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I have a house for guys in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love all this stuff. Oh, you work out? I thought about working out. Like, they're going to be walking through the house trying to find connection points. So raise your hand if you've done it. I did it early in my career too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're thinking, this is the time for me to connect, and we're going to get to know each other, and it's going to be whatever. Does that make sense? Okay? So, I gave you the example not long ago when we had someone come to our office who said, why should I hire you as my realtor? Tell me your value propositions. You guys remember that story? And everybody said, I do this, I do this. And then I raised my hand and said, I don't know that I should be your realtor because I don't know what's important to you yet. So if you'll give me a few minutes to ask you some questions, we can decide if we're a great match or not. Okay, now when I say that, we can decide that we're a great match or we're not a match. You know, and if we are a good match, and you're comfortable and confident that I can help you sell your house, then we'll walk through the house. Okay, what might she want to say if she hears me say that? If she hears me
Why
say
wouldn't I be a great match for you?
thank you. And that's what they do say sometimes, if they're D's. But I knew it wouldn't be very much. I said, okay, this is hard for me to share, but it goes on every day. I've been on appointments in the past where the seller actually had something about the house that was a known defect that they wanted to keep on the down low and not put on the seller's disclosure. In other words, they said, Steve, we know our foundation needs work, but we just put carpet over it, we put some concrete on it, they shouldn't be able to feel it, but if we tell people we have a faulty foundation, we're gonna make a lot less. So we need to make sure that doesn't get out. At which point I stand up and I excuse myself. I'm not the realtor for them. Now, I'm not saying that's anything you would do, but I won't work with people who are not forthcoming or honest. Make sense? So what are you thinking now?
Maybe they were thinking to do that, they say, oh my God.
Yeah, you might as well go now, Steve. Right? That's never happened. That's never happened. Never happened to me. What are you thinking about me when I answer the question that way?
Man, you got integrity.
Yeah, honest person.
Honest and integrity. I didn't have to say I'm honest and integrity. I just said, I'm not gonna work with somebody who's not gonna be above board. And that's the only reason we would not be a good match. They said, well, we're not trying to hide anything. I'm like, cool. They were already winning, okay? So here's what I want you to do. I just want you to be a homeowner. Just be a normal homeowner. So you're sitting down at the table, okay? And I start, now, let me tell you the beauty of this, ladies and gentlemen. Put this in a freaking folder, sit down across the freaking table and ask the freaking questions. You don't have to ask all of them. There's a couple in here that I put, like, how important is it to you to know that your realtor is an expert with the builder and the homes in the neighborhood? How important is it? If you don't know the neighborhood like that, don't ask that question. That makes sense? When I created this, I knew the builder, I knew the neighborhood, knew everything about the guy in homes, so I put that in there because they would have never thought about that before. Does that make sense?
So this is a company with another document.
This is the well, I mean, I have a folder that has everything in it. I have the CMA, I have the data, I have seller disclosure, I have the informational brokerage services, I have a totally killer folder. We're gonna be doing the folder in the next 2 weeks and showing you. It's called the green folder for sellers, and there's the blue folder for buyers. And when you open the folder up to get to this section, and it's a high seat, they've already decided to hire you before you've opened your mouth and started asking questions. And I'll explain all of that why. Okay, so now we're in a situation where we're sitting down at the table and she's going, this is interesting. Just what you said. This is interesting. And when I did this the first time, the lady, I told you all the story. They were the neighbor in Mossbrook. They had already chosen their realtor that they were going to work with to help them sell their house and get into this house already. And she looks at me and she goes, well, that's a different approach, like with that energy. To which I just said, thank you so much, I appreciate that. You know, the top 10% of us do about 80% of the business, so the chances of you seeing this method are pretty slim. So I'm glad you already recognize that I'm doing things different. Very cool. I'm like, bring it, Chloe, bring it, right? You know, I was ready for a fight. But it was smooth, and I could just see the look on her face like, did he just judo me? I turned what she meant to be a negative into a positive right away. Like, thank you so much for noticing that. That is so cool. Yeah. It is different, right? So, what is the point of this? The point of this is, if I could put this in plain English, this is going to be creepy. I'm going to pull the curtain back. So, Kaylee, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions that's going to tell me what to talk to you about. Because I'm not really sure what to talk to you about. I got a lot of stuff I can talk to you about, but most of it might not be important to you. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and you're going to feel seen and heard, which you will be, but I'm then going to base the next part of my presentation on addressing all the things that are important to you, so that you're going to be like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. I would never say that,
Right.
but that's what's happening. Does that make sense? I am building my conversation based on her answers. So I want you to think the power of this if you're sitting down with someone. You can take a listing from me if you master this. Well, maybe not. But you could be really close. You can take a listing from almost every other realtor. Does that make sense? If you master this. And you don't have to freaking memorize this. You're gonna witness a couple things. Number one, it's not about just ask the question and get the answer. Ask the question and get the answer. It's not about that. It's ask the question and go deep. Really understand. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
One simple example from the lady out there in Helotes, what was the word that she used? She said, it's really important to me that this thing goes smooth, right? I said, got you, so help me. What exactly would it going smooth look like for you? Like, describe that to me. It was not at all what I would have thought. She goes, well, like, you would tell me what was happening, right? There wouldn't be any surprises, or hey, you're losing an extra 10 grand. Or hey, if you want to sell the house, you're gonna have to replace the roof, that's 10 grand. Like, I don't want any of those surprises. I'm like, got you. So what I hear you saying is, if we have open, regular conversation, and you're aware of everything that's happening step by step, not telling you what has to happen, but advising you so that you can decide what you want to do, that would be going smoothly? That would be perfect. I go, great. Do you see what I'm saying when I talk about that? So you don't want to just assume you understand. By the way, when somebody does that with you and they get clarity, you know they really freaking care. They're trying to really understand you. Follow? Okay, so here we go. Okay, so Kaylee, have you sold a house with a realtor before?
Yes, we have.
You have, okay. In the military family. So let me ask you this, how were those experiences just generally, overall?
Generally, it was pretty good, but I felt like communication from our realtor could have been better. We weren't really sure what was going on with the home sale at any point in the process, and we would like that to be different this time.
Understood. So what did they do that like you really liked? You and your husband were like, man, that was great. We really liked that. What did they do that you really liked or appreciated or found valuable?
Well, I liked that they did answer the phone when I called and hosted a couple open houses for us.
Okay. Let me ask you a question about this. When it comes to hosting the open houses for you, what was it about that made it valuable to you and important to you?
I thought that it would actually bring a lot of traffic through our house, so that's why it was important to us.
Gotcha. Have you ever looked at the statistics of the type of prospecting or marketing that actually brings buyers? Have you ever had a chance to look at any of that? I'm more than happy to show it to you. I'll tell you something interesting about open houses just off the bat. The National Association of Realtors says that there's less than a 1% chance that a buyer will come from an open house, but there's almost a 100% chance that the realtor is going to pick up new clients at an open house, because buyers come in and they say, oh, this house is out of our price range. Well, I've got any house that I can sell you. So open houses have typically been used by a lot of newer realtors who are trying to pick up business when they move into a neighborhood. But in terms of effectiveness of getting the house sold, it's not the highest and best use of that realtor's time. Like, I'll give you the contrast. Networking with your sphere of influence and your past database, like I do, I'm committed to 3 hours a day on the phones in the office to get this done, has a 42% chance of getting the house sold. So when I talk to my clients, I say, if I can be at the open house for 3 hours or connecting with my network for 3 hours, and this has a 1% chance of getting your house sold, and this has a 42% chance, where would you prefer I spend my time?
Calling people.
Yes. Now, if I was looking to get new business from strangers at your house, I would do open houses all the time. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And I will tell you this, if it's still important to you, we can still have somebody do it, because like, hey, I don't mind making new clients. I just think it's important for you to understand the statistics that I use as a business person when I decide where my time is best spent to help you accomplish your goals, not mine.
Okay.
Make sense?
Awesome.
Okay, cool. Now with the same realtors, okay, what did they do or not do that left you disappointed, or with this feeling like, gosh, they could have done better? You hinted on communication, but Go a little bit deeper into that and tell me what else.
Well, if a couple days would go by, I would ask her, you know, if there were any updates, and then she'd have a couple updates for us after the fact that I felt like could have been shared before I reached out to her.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is that, okay, you got the updates, but it took you reaching out to her versus her being proactive. So is having a proactive realtor important to you?
It is.
Okay. Gotcha. So what would you consider over communicating? Like, what would you consider like, okay, Steve, this is a little much. Now, it rarely happens, but what would you consider, oh my gosh, Steve, like, you know, I'm informed. Like, could you ever imagine a situation where you were over-informed?
Maybe if you reached out every hour, that would be probably pretty annoying.
I want you to see, she's laughing and we're giggling. I'm like, totally get it, Kaylee, totally understand. But what I hear you saying is, if there's some bit of information, or I discover something or learn something, like say another home coming on the market to compete with yours, or I got a phone call from a buyer who is driving by that may want to see it this weekend, when new information comes up on your property, it would mean a lot to you if I reached out to you first instead of waiting for you to call me.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Okay, got it. Was there anything else that they did or did not do that left you disappointed that they could have done better?
That's the only thing that comes to mind.
Okay, so communication is really important to you.
Yes, sir.
All right, wonderful. So tell me this, like, what are the top 3 things that are most important to you in the realtor that you're going to choose to partner with you this time around? What are some things that are most important?
Well, I want to make the most amount of money possible in this home sale, so someone who's a good negotiator. We already discussed communication, that's highly important to us, and,
Okay.
I don't know what else I'm drawing blank.
Okay, well, I mean, you know, many times there's not a lot. Those things are incredibly important to most people. Some of the answers that I get are, you know, just tell me the truth. You're not gonna hurt my feelings, don't sugarcoat it, just tell me like it is. I have some clients that say that's very important to them as well, but making the most money possible definitely comes from having a highly skilled negotiator, and communication is absolutely critical. Got it. Well, you're gonna love this. I've invested more in my non-required continuing education than I've invested in my cars over the last 30 years. Like, I'm a car guy, you know, so I put a lot into setting myself apart when it comes to negotiation. You know what I mean? You wanna see it in action?
Sure.
Ask me to cut my commission.
Will you cut your commission?
No. See how easy that is? That's just a little demonstration, right? Okay, so when it comes to having a great negotiator, making the most money possible, and having great communication, I know this is probably belaboring the point, but why is that important to you?
Well, we really want to buy a new house in Bernie, so we'd like to be able to use the money from this home sale to purchase a new one.
Okay, fantastic. So wonderful. So having an aggressive, highly skilled negotiator helping you find that house and negotiate that house is important as well, right?
Yes.
Great. Okay, wonderful. Because my skills don't change going from sale to buyer. You know what I mean? It's the same skill set. Wonderful. I just planted a seed that I am going to be the realtor that will be used for that. Okay? So let me ask you this. How are you going to make the decision of who you're going to list your home with? You said you had interviewed 2 other people. How are you going to be making that decision of who you're going to list with?
Well, I met you and invited you here through word of mouth. One of my friends had used you in the past, so I think determining who's the best, you know, when it comes to the house, based on
Okay.
word of mouth recommendations. I'm
Okay.
interviewing a few based on word of mouth, so we'll go from there.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. I'm incredibly confident that my disruptive style and system for getting homes sold for top dollar in a short period of time, I'm absolutely confident that it's going to be very, very different when we get to that. Yeah. And the beautiful part of that of me creating a multiple offer situation, especially when you've got a home that you're going to buy, many times we can force the other party through those aggressive negotiating skills to say, we want you to buy the house, close on the house, but we want you to let us stay here for up to 90 days while we get that house in Bernie. We'll pay you rent. We'll be your renters, but we don't want to have to pay for room We don't have to put our stuff in storage, we wanna just stay put. And when I have, multiple offers and people, fighting over the house, we can usually set our own terms. Would only having to move one time be like a blessing for you guys?
That would be a huge blessing.
Okay, yeah, it saves a lot of money too. Okay, so let me ask you this, if we could wave a magic wand and this transaction went perfectly, like the sale of your house, moving to Bernie, it went perfectly, could you describe that to me? Like what exactly would have to happen for you and your husband to be like, that was amazing?
Well, I would think being minimally invasive to our schedule would be something that would be helpful, because we have 2 kids, and after 7 o'clock is really hard for us to have showings. Trying to get them funneled all into the weekends would be ideal, but I know that's not probably possible. And it would happen quickly within, by October would be great.
Okay, if it happens sooner, would that be a problem?
That would be even better.
Okay, and worst case scenario, if we sold your house for a ton of money, and the people said, we'll give you the ton of money, but we can't do the lease back, would you be okay putting stuff into storage and having a ton of money in the bank and sleeping on pillows full of money in a hotel? Could you do it? Okay, I'm just checking, worst case scenario. I'm planting the seed because that's a possibility. And I've always said, would sleeping in a hotel with your pillows full of $100 bills be okay with you? You see how I'm keeping it light, right? And I'm using visuals? Okay, wonderful. Well, let me just say right now, I'm like ridiculously excited, especially since you've interviewed the other agents, because the system that I put together that is disruptive is designed to do exactly that. In fact, if things work according to my plan, I would probably ask you and your husband to maybe take the kids to Fredericksburg for the weekend, like leave on a Friday and come back Sunday evening before school, so that you just give me Saturday and Sunday to show the house. So you have the kids go to school, do what you do during the week. We get this house in show-ready, tip-top condition, and then I drive all the traffic to your house during a 2-hour window on a Saturday to drive the price up. That's the model that I use, and I can explain if you choose to hire me as your realtor, okay? And I'll go over that, but it'll accommodate everything that you're looking for in my plan, okay? So what are your greatest concerns then about showing your house when you talk about the disruptions?
I think just keeping it show ready with 2 kids running around with toys all over the place is the hardest part.
You and your husband's toys or the kids' toys?
Both.
If I can keep a serious face and if they're laughing, I'm gonna get hired. Does that make sense? Because you have to have confidence to keep it light, because this is a big deal, right? So what you should be seeing is a combination of me being very serious and very professional, but also keeping it very light and being humorous, all right? Now, it comes easy for me because I've been given the gift of sarcasm and silliness, and Angela hates it. In fact, she wouldn't go see The Naked Gun with me. I had to take my son, because she would have left in the first 5 minutes of the movie because she would have called it stupid. But humor is important to me. By the way, I'm selfishly going to tell you this and all of you this. I do this not just to connect with my clients. I'm having fun when I'm being a goofball. I'm having fun when I say, is it y'all's choice? You and your husband y'all's toys? But that's fun for me, because they don't expect that stuff, right? You know what I mean? Now, if you don't have a sense of humor, it can be really creepy. So, like you and your husband's toys? What do you mean by that? You haven't been in our room, have you? Oh, like it could get weird, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so what I see greatest concerns are probably like me, because we had 7 kids. We could go from our house being ready for dinner with the president to a national disaster in one meal. You know, scary. So that's a concern of yours. All the more why, one of the reasons I think that our system is going to be very attractive to you, because it will address that as well. Okay. Well, what concerns do you have in respect to the transition to your new place in Bernie? What concerns do you have about that?
Well, definitely having to hire movers twice and use a storage unit would complicate things.
Okay. So if we could negotiate a lease back with the house, that would be something that would probably be important to you?
Yes, that would be.
Okay. So not moving twice. Have you heard of that company called Pods?
Yes.
Are you familiar? Have you ever used that?
I haven't used them.
Are you familiar with the concept?
Yes.
Okay, great. That I found for clients who need to move has been a real blessing for them because, you know, they bring the pod to the house and it's got a very low level of entry and, you know, fill the stuff up and then just take it off. So, you know, you're not actually driving the U-Haul, renting a U-Haul, and then you have everything in an air-conditioned unit. And then it's like, okay, we're gonna just have a staycation in a hotel for a little bit, you know? In a worst case scenario is your house is sold, you have all the money you need in the bank, the monkey's off your back, and now when you're looking for your next house, you're in a position of total strength because you're ready to move. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We want sellers to be excited about the offer. Okay. So I was just curious, what kind of, now I'm gonna have to change this now that I have a new system, okay? So, you know, when you were looking at what you thought you were gonna get from your house, like what number were you thinking you wanted to walk away with, realistically, with your house? Like how much you think you wanna walk away with when you do the math on what you think the house might be worth and then closing costs and then what you owe on it? Do you have an idea of what you think
Yeah, I
you're
think
gonna walk
if we
away
could
with?
walk away with 150,000 would be good.
Okay, and when you came up with that figure, what math did you use for that, or what data did you use to arrive at that?
Well, I read on like Google that I can expect to lose about 6% from realtor fees and about 3%. So does that seem accurate?
Well, all except for the word. I like to think of it as, you know, I lose money when I buy a steak because, you know, it's not an experience. But if I invest in NVIDIA or Apple or, you know, Samsung, that I'm actually going to get a return on that. So what I put out is going to come back in droves. And with a great realtor, you know, the problem is having a bad realtor is like having a bad dentist. You don't know you've got one until it's too late. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so having a great realtor, that percentage is not a loss, it's an actual investment that should yield you significant return. And I've discovered most people, they're not as interested in paying the lowest commission, they're interested in making the most money. Is that important to you too?
Yes.
Yeah. So I may be mincing words, but I like to think when you hire a great negotiator that it's a good investment.
Right.
But yeah, between 6 to 10-ish% potentially, depending on negotiations, is in there.
Okay.
So that's where you came up with that. And then with the house price, what did you think about that when you arrived at the house price?
Well, I saw my neighbor's house down the street sold for $550, so I was thinking ours is a little better, so I was thinking maybe 600.
Okay, all right. So you're just kind of toying around with it. Well, this is great because I have actual data that I'll be able to show you today, and I do remember that house is sold for $550, and that's part of what we're going to be looking at today. Okay. So how did you guys originally find this house that you're in now?
We actually found it on Zillow.
Okay.
We went to the open house when they had it.
So you were the 1% that actually bought from an open house. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, and what originally attracted you to your house and made you want to buy it?
Well, I like the landscaping outside and the kitchen.
The landscaping
it's really
out
good
there is
for
beautiful.
hosting.
You really kept it up well.
Thank you.
Okay, and the kitchen for hosting?
Yes.
Do you guys
Host
entertain?
parties and entertain people.
Oh, very
so
cool.
It's very important to us.
How often do you normally do that? Is that a regular thing?
Like once a month, we like to have people over.
Very cool. Okay, so that's what you like about the kitchen. All right, we're almost done, all right? So what do you think a buyer will love most about your house?
I think they'll like the kitchen, and we added a new backsplash in the kitchen as well as the kitchenette outside.
You added that.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice of colors, if it is. If it's not, you go, no. Oh, great, new backsplash, okay? Okay, and then this could be a question if you know, if you've done the work. How important is it to you to have an experienced expert realtor that knows your builder, home area, and neighborhood inside out? So that's a question if you've done the research and you could do that. And then I would go to, okay, great. So far, do you feel like I understand what's most important to you and why?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. And so what questions do you have for me? Okay, we're good? All right.
We're good.
Well, so based on what you told me here and what I've looked at, the things that are most important to you are things that I actually specialize in, and the system that I use actually accommodates this. So when it comes to communication, we have a standard with the Collins Group. No matter what goes on during the week, you're always it's a snowstorm in San Antonio and everybody's locked up, I'm still calling Friday, no matter what. So there's always that. But when we have new information that comes up, inquiries about the house or neighbors who ask about it, we always let you know. It just gives me a reason to call you too. So it won't have to be something you're gonna have to, pull out of me to get information. We do communicate and we have a system for that. So that's gonna be one of the things I know that was important to you. Also, when it comes to answering the phone call, you'll notice my phone is not here right now. I leave it in the car when I'm with people. I've just decided, when I'm with someone, they deserve my undivided attention. And when I get back in my car, my phone will be there and there'll be some messages for me. So if you get my voicemail, it probably means that I was just at a kitchen table with somebody, like I am with you, giving them my undivided attention like I'm giving you. But it's a standard of mine that I always return calls the same day. Always do that. Unless it's after hours, which I'll talk to you about, because, when I go home, I work like no other realtor so that I can live like no other realtor. And if there's ever an emergency, I'm available. I just have never had a real estate emergency. So that helps me to be a great husband, be a great dad, and be a great realtor at the same time. So when I'm home, I give my family my undivided attention. I have a sticker on the garage door coming in that says, "Time to give my family the best of me, not the rest of me." And so I'm just very conscious of that. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So I'm like that. She respects that.
Yeah.
Everybody says they
You can
respect
ask for that sticker to put it on her garage.
I don't want her to be convicted while I'm helping her. She's gonna be convicted at the new house after we close. Right? I don't want her to look at that and be like, "Damn it, Steve." Or have good feelings about me. So, when it comes to being able to manage the transaction, not stress out about the kids, not worry about being interrupted with showings, and this happening in a very timely manner for you, and being able to potentially structure the offer so that you get everything that you want. That's why I think the system that I use to get your home sold answers all of these questions. So at this point, on my end, I think we're a great match. How are you feeling so far?
I think that too.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's all we needed. See, that wasn't so bad, thank you. Now, I want to ask you all ahas, and you too, Kaylee. So let's start with Kaylee. What were some ahas that you had going through that system? Going through that?
I think one of the houses is the espontaneous, ¿cómo se dice? Espontaneous.
Spontaneous.
For the xerox flow that you print, it may lose everything, so you get in contact with people, get closer to people just because of the sense of humor that you find in very quick,
And I could have done, just so you guys know that, I could have done that with no humor whatsoever, but just a smile. Just a smile. I could have just been smiling, and just been professional about it. I've just been doing so long, I have fun with it now. Right?
No, I think that, this is fantastic because it is all about them and they feel like you care. You care about me. It's not like, somebody going in, "Oh, I do this, I'm great at this and that." It's not about the realtor, it's about finding out what's important to them.
I'm so glad you know that because all of your competition is gonna go and go blah, 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 Victoria, blah, 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 amazing, blah, 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 I have beautiful hair, blah, 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 I go to church on Sundays, blah, blah, blah. And it's gonna be, it's gonna be about them, you're gonna make it all about them. It's gonna be all about them. And you're right, this makes it all about the client. And
Did you do this when they were repeat clients?
these are people I've never met before.
Okay.
So they live in Mossbrook, around the corner, they just created it several years ago. I told my son Christian, I'm gonna make flyers, talks about, hey, here's us if you wanna buy and sell. Somebody in our neighborhood had it was amazing though, because that was, well, I don't wanna drop his name in the grease, but he was one of the top agents in the city. But the house sat on the market forever, and then it wouldn't appraise, and then the people ended up getting like 30 grand below what they could have. And so I had helped my neighbor behind me through this model that I had done before. Like I've been experimenting with this for a while. I just never said this is the way it's gonna be moving forward, okay? And I decided that's the way it's gonna be moving forward for me. And I told my neighbor, hey, listen, here's what I wanna do, and we're in an aggressive market right now, and we have an attorney at the office that's gonna draft a document that says that if people offer more than the asking price, they're gonna actually pay the gap if the house doesn't appraise. Cause I think I can get this for it, cause it's gorgeous with the pool on top of the hill, all this stuff, right? Beautiful, right behind our house, like the highest peak of the hill. Beautiful view of everything. He's got a third deck on the house. Like, it is a cool house, a lot of unique features. And I said, I believe I can get this much for it, but I don't think it'll appraise. I think it'll appraise here, but if we can get them to sign this gap. And then I told him this, because I will confess I was too old-fashioned into it when we had the conversation. It was at night. And I said, hey, if I make you an extra 40 grand more than your house is worth, and you choose to give me a bonus, I ain't gonna stop you. If I had not have said that, Angela
I was
couldn't
like,
believe it.
what the
I
heck?
brought the card home after I made my 3% commission, and the card said, thank you so much, here's your bonus. It was 70 $100 bills.
Wow.
He gave me 7 grand cash. What? Extra.
And
Bonus.
he also gave,
And Christina, who is my partner working, he gave her, I'm so glad I didn't tell. I said, Christina, did you open your thing? And she goes, yes, he gave me 3 grand. And I was like, awesome. I didn't tell her I got 7. She still doesn't know. But he could have just done that for me, but Christina helped, with the contract to close. But that's how non-greedy he was. That's how non-greedy he was. I made him 40 grand more than the house was worth. So I did, and I titled the flyer, A Tale of Two Realtors. And this guy, hired me, right? Passing out in the neighborhood. We had it was their next door neighbor, a doctor and his wife, who were really good friends with the couple. And they said, hey, our neighbors are gonna be selling. I'm pretty sure they already have a realtor. We're really impressed with what you did here. We're gonna walk it over there, and I'm gonna tell him he should at least interview you. Okay? He should at least interview you. And I said, okay, fantastic, that's wonderful. And my daughter Gabriella had just got her license at that time. And so the guy called me, and this is exactly how the call went. He goes, Mr. Collins, listen, this is Michael. I live next door to Dr. and Mrs. So-and-so. Look, man, we already have a realtor. She helped us sell our house. She's gonna help us sell this house. She helped us buy this house. And, but we love these guys, and he made me promise that we would just interview you. I don't want to waste your time. And I said, Michael, I really respect that. I appreciate that very much. I said, let me ask you a question. Would it be a waste of your time if I just spent maybe 30 minutes? My daughter just got her license, and I would love for her to see how I present my listing presentation. Would that be okay with you? And he goes, yes, but I need to warn you, the realtor is my wife's friend, and we have a newborn, and my wife is not happy. She's not gonna be happy to see you, right? And then I asked a really stupid but cool question. I said, because his last name was Gonzalez, I said, is she Latina? And he goes, you know why? I said, I've been married to that woman for 30 years, bro, I got this. I ain't worried about a damn thing. I got 7 kids, married to a fiery Latina, I'm prepared. And he laughed, he goes, oh my God. Okay, and so we set the appointment. And that's exactly how it happened. When we opened the door, he looked real nervous, and there she was in the back of the living room like this. And as soon as I said the walk through the house thing, she goes, well, that's different. I said, yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you recognizing the difference. Top 10% of about 8% of the business, so there's a really good chance you'll never see the way that I do business. Now, selling your house, I'm not worried about it, not because it's become less tedious or complicated. It's just that I've done it so many times, I know I'm going to be able to sell your house. What I'm really concerned about is creating a 5-star world-class experience for your family. I mean, a tailor-made approach that will be a blessing to you guys. And so if we have an opportunity right now, I would love to ask you a few questions to determine if we're going to be a match or not a match. And if at the end of that time you're comfortable and confident I'm the guy that can help you, then I'll walk through the house. And she said, why wouldn't we be a match? And I said, well, it pains me to say this, but I've helped clients in the past that were hiding defects in the house, and I didn't find out until it was too late. And I found out that they wanted me to cover up foundation issues, and I wasted an hour at their house, and I threw out my contract and I left. So I won't work with dishonest people. And she goes, we're not dishonest. And I said, understand. And this questionnaire will help us decide. And then she goes, and then she comes and sits down on the couch. And we go through this, and at the very end, because she said, well, I have a newborn, my schedule. Well, I have a concern about showing because this, here's what we can do. The weekends only. I was solving the problems as she was answering. And at the end, I said, do you have any questions for me? She goes, you're our realtor. Michael, I'm calling so-and-so. And my daughter Gabriella was like, didn't know them from anybody. Does that make sense? And again, the crazy part of the story is, the crazy part of the story is that about a month or two later, Angela's, one of Angela's best buddies, called her and said, there's no way that Steve did this, did he? Because the girl Monica was Angela's best buddy, one of her best buddies. And so it was all this whole thing where they were like, oh my God, Steve is coaching. What was he doing selling your house? No, he doesn't do that. And it was a whole thing, right? But my point is, that is how powerful that is. I didn't tell them the price. I didn't do a CMA. I hadn't shown them any competition, nothing. And guess what? I didn't do a CMA. She goes, you're our guy. What do you think we can get for the house? I said, I think we listed at $750. I think we'll probably get $770. And she goes, let's do it. And I didn't even show her anything. Does that make sense?
Just by this document, just by asking her those questions.
I solved all of her problems, fixed all of her issues and concerns throughout that process. And at the end of the process, she was like, this is different. Right? And then her realtor found out the same thing. She said, yeah, it's funny. When we told my realtor it was you, she said, it can't be him because he's coaching. And she said, well, he's teaching his kid. So thank God for Gabrielle back then, thank God for AJ now. But no, he's doing this because he's teaching his kid. Does that make sense? Will you guys promise me something?
Yeah.
My fault. Promise me you will lead generate for 1 hour today. Will you promise me that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Okay, I know, Angela, I'm gonna get
I'm
beaten
like,
by Angela
I should make
and
bets with you and get money off of this, you know, like.
I think she should. Okay, well, listen, this tool will level the playing field. You can take a listing from a top realtor because of the statement I put at the top of that. People do not care how much you know or how sharp you are, what a hot shot you are, until they know how much you care about them. You can be new, sit down at the table, be sincere, be genuine. Do this questionnaire, take your time, and they know nothing about you, and you know everything about them. But what they do know, she cares, he cares, this is a big deal to me. He knows exactly what and he fixed all the things we were worried about before we even had to go there. Does that make sense? Kaylee, everybody promised they would lead generate for an hour today. Promise? Promise. Okay. And I gotta give this back to you. This is a big one. You can give me the little one.
And you can have that back.
Okay.
This is